So a few years ago, Gibraltar's Olympian, Georgina Cassar, stood here on this stage and told us about her amazing journey that ended with her going to the Olympic Games in London. But as talented as Georgina is, I'm sure that even she would agree that she didn't get there on her own. And like all great athletes, her success also came off the back of many hours of hard work from great coaches. And our first speaker today is such a coach. She has taken athletes to the Olympics and to the Commonwealth Games, and she has done it with balls. And ribbons and hoops and other apparatus. I'm so sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first speaker for GibTalks 2023, Sally Holmes.
Good morning. The road to the Games has been a journey filled with training, hard work and dedication, but at the same time, lots of laughter and fun. This has been made possible by my talented gymnasts, their families and other professionals who have helped us achieve all our dreams. I am the head coach for artistic and rhythmic gymnastics here in Gibraltar. Artistic gymnastics is vault, bar, beam and floor. All of you will know Simone Biles, who did backflips and double back somersaults. Rhythmic gymnastics is handheld apparatus only, so we have rope, ball, hoop, ribbon, and clubs. Each individual routine is 1.5 minutes long. We have 4 apparatus, that is a total of 6 minutes. This is the time that the girls will have on the floor to wow the judges and to show the audience what they can do. Our judging panel is divided into 3. So we have artistry, meaning how do you engage with the music? Do you have a theme? Is your apparatus going at the same time as the theme? Our next one is execution. This is the most difficult for everybody. It's where the judges will penalize you for not pointing your toes, bent legs, even a knot in the ribbon. The most expensive of all of this is if you have a drop. Our final one is difficulty. In this 1.5 minutes, the girls must try and fit in maximum of 5 risks, a risk meaning where you throw the apparatus and it's outside of your visual field, and to do 9 difficulties. The training normally is 24 hours a week, because as you know, they all go to school. Building up to the Commonwealth Games or to the Olympics, the girls were training between 8 and 10 hours a day. This was divided into 2 sessions, a morning session of 4 hours, a lunchtime break of 2 hours, and then the afternoon session. The morning session would start off with stretching, and believe it or not, we do stretching and conditioning for 2 hours. Yes, I know 2 hours sounds like a long time, but if you've seen my gymnasts, they literally can put their foot on a chair and do splits and they're flat. To be able to do this, we have an intense program to make sure that we have no injuries. After lunch and they've had a nice break, we come back again, warm up so that they don't injure themselves, do ballet and do the final 2 apparatus. This is all done so that we can achieve the highest score possible at a competition. Sorry. Delhi. This was the first time that rhythmic gymnastics was competing in the Commonwealth Games. We had 2 goals, make it to the finals and to meet the new rising star, Tom Daley. To get to our training venue, we had the bus, same size as the number 2 that we see in Gibraltar. The only difference was we were the only gymnasts that had arrived and there were 3 people on the bus, Georgina, Nicola and myself, a bus driver, a detective. Once we got going to the venue, we suddenly realized we not only had a detective on the bus, but we also had our armed escort at the front and the back. And they stopped all the traffic for us to be able to get to the venue on time. We certainly felt like royalty. When we came back from training, we had to go through security to get into the village. There was a nice barrier at the end of this security thing. Georgina, in all her haste to try and get back into the village, actually slammed straight into the barrier, dropped all her apparatus on the floor, bent over double, and then was totally embarrassed when someone said, "Can I help you? Are you okay?" And it was Tom Daley. So the girls did get their wish. They got a photo with Tom Daley, but I don't think it was how Georgina wanted to be remembered. When we started our training, we knew that when we were competing in India, the best part is to get the audience to enjoy the routines. So we chose Indian-based music, knowing that going into the competition would have the audience there applauding for us. Nicola was the first one to start the routine with her rope routine. And when she went out onto the carpet, obviously she had Indian music, the applause was tremendous. It really lifted us up and made the Gibraltar gymnasts feel really special. Georgina was the next up, and she had her hoop routine. Georgina was standing in her starting position, and her position was like this, and suddenly the biggest bug you've ever seen went across her face. I don't know if she was scared to do the routine, or if she was just terrified of where that bug was going to land. In fact, the wildlife had come to the Commonwealth Games, and after each rotation, they had to vacuum the carpet because the carpet was literally alive. We achieved both goals at that Commonwealth Games. Georgina made it to apparatus finals, which unfortunately Nicola missed out, and the girls got to meet Tom Daley. Fast forward to coming back from the Games, and Georgina decided she would like to go to the Olympics. To make it to the Olympics, we had to go and do a trial in the UK. This was fine. We left Gibraltar on a nice winter's day. There was absolutely no problem until we arrived in Luton. One of the biggest snowstorms that the UK had ever had hit us. We were the final plane to land. When we got into the airport, it was total and utter chaos. There were no buses, there were no cars, and the only advice we were given was follow the air crew. Wherever they go, you go, and you'll make it to London. Well, Georgina and I travelled on trains to places I didn't even know existed, but we finally got to our final destination, only to thaw out, get ready to go and do the trial the next day, and we were the only two people there because everybody else couldn't leave their houses because of the snow. I do say they did trial us, so as you all know, Georgina went to the Olympics. Watching Georgina at the Games was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences for any coach, but at the same time, it was such a proud moment. Of course, there at the Games, Georgina did get to meet Tom Daley. After the Games, unfortunately, we did not have a team to go to the next Commonwealth Games, but I did start preparing my younger gymnasts. We were invited onto Sports Locker to actually have a chat about how the girls felt about their heroes, previous gymnasts, and what their plans were for their future. I had one young gymnast in the audience, and she didn't say a word until the presentator at the final question said, "So, does anyone have any superstitions or rituals before you go out onto the floor?" Of course, this little one puts up her hand and goes, "Sally gives us a tablet." And it stopped. They didn't get me going, it was a dextrose. I spent the next couple of weeks explaining to everybody that we were not giving them drugs. We were just giving them dextrose tablets. The next Commonwealth Games was 2018. Janine, Emma, and I, that's Nicola's younger sister, started trialling and going to competitions, Commonwealth competitions around the world. We started off in Wales, we went to England, Belgium, and our final destination was South Africa. In this picture, this is the moment that I will never forget when we actually knew Emma had qualified to go to 2018 Commonwealth Games and was following in her sister's footsteps. This Games, as you know, was in Australia. You've all heard the stories, you've all seen the movies about the borders with control. Of course, we get on the plane, I'm telling Emma, don't take anything, don't take the water, don't take an apple, we're going to get arrested. I was so busy worrying about that. We get to the gate and they say, passport and visa, and I go, oh, I'd left them on the plane. So after spending all the years telling the girls, make sure you pick up your belongings, don't leave anything behind, I'm the one who left the passports and visas sitting on the plane. I had to rush back, get it, and apologize to Emma. And I'm telling you now, I never heard the end of it. When we were there, we had two goals again for Emma to get her all best on one of her apparatus and to meet Tom Daly. While we were standing in the food court one day, I heard my name being called and turned round. I was expecting to see someone from Gibraltar calling my name. Nobody, so we thought, carry on. Again, I hear my name being called. When I finally turn around, this strange man walks up and gives me a hug. I'm like, okay, I know it's the friendly games, but this was a blast from my past. This was a gymnast from South Africa who I hadn't seen from 17 years, was now at the Commonwealth Games as a men's artistic coach. It was such a pleasure to have both of my gymnasts together talking about past and present competitions. Again, we were on the hunt for Tom Daly. So after Emma had done so well in her competition, we went to find a picture. And to our joy and delight, he actually took a selfie with her. This is the moment that Emma was going onto the competition floor. They have very, very strict rules. I was allowed to see Emma in the corridor, and she had to do the long walk like I had to do now, all by herself. And I must tell you, after coming out here onto the stage, I do have a much needed appreciation for my gymnasts who go out and compete in front of so many people. After we finished that Games, I started preparing for the next Commonwealth Games, and COVID hit. Unfortunately, that meant the Olympic cycle was 1 year late. Usually our code of points, which we do our gymnastics on, comes out, which should have been coming out January 2021. We only got it in January 2022. Kylie and Mia only had 2 months to prepare to go to the Commonwealth Games before we could actually say that we were there. The girls need intense training. But on top of the intense training, they need proper recovery. One of the best recoveries, as we all know, is ice baths. You try and tell that to 2 teenage girls that they have to go and sit in an ice bath and freeze in the British so-called summer. We're not going to do it, we'll do it for a minute. Are you sure this is what we have to do? Anyway, I really said to them, please just try it out. They said they'd try for a minute. 10 minutes later, I had no gymnasts and I started to panic. Have they drowned? What's going on? They come back with big smiles. Oh no, it was cold. But the men's Welsh hockey team had come in and was standing there saying, can I have a towel? And they all went, yeah, this is good. So after that, if I needed anything, I just made sure that we had the men's teams around and the girls would do anything. Again, we had 2 goals. We had goals of making the apparatus, getting the best highest score, which both girls achieved. And as you know, a photo with Tom Daly. This happened at the opening ceremony. The girls walked past, and suddenly out of the corner of the eye, I just saw them both running to get a photo. The parents all heard that evening, I met Tom Daly, I met Tom Daly. Nothing about the games, the village, anybody else. It was just Tom Daly. Over the past years, the gymnasts have raised the standard, and this is largely to watching all the other gymnasts that have come before them, who were their heroes. It is also through my growth and knowledge. This journey has a few things in common: hard work, dedication, opening and closing ceremonies, rhythmic gymnastics, friends, family, and fans. And of course, the most important, Tom Daly. Thank you all very much for listening this morning.